Just to finish up on George Floyd and Rayshard, I mean, you put out comments on both of those people. I mean, effectively, I think you were saying, let's not turn these people into saints when they're not. Let's not create new narratives about things that happened. Is that what you were saying, or what were you saying about those two incidents?
I mean, that's exactly what I was saying. I mean, there are criminals in the white community, lifelong criminals, or criminals in the Hispanic community, there are criminals in the Black community. I can only think of one community that will turn their lifelong career criminals, into T-shirts and murals and, a 3-day telecast funeral. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, I don't know. I can't even think of maybe a mobster, like a mobster or Pablo Escobar. He died on a rooftop being shot by the police officers. And I just can't imagine people pretending this is a man who crashed a plane, to try to kill somebody and, killed a lot of people in Colombia. I just can't imagine people, the government, individuals, speaking at a 3-day telecast funeral for him. We had Joe Biden speaking at the funeral. We had former presidents speaking out about this person's life. That's just wrong. I don't care how it ended for the person. If you thought it was fair, the person, which by the way, in today's reality, if Pablo Escobar was killed on a rooftop today, there would be and he was Black, there'd be mass protests, despite the fact that he was a drug dealer, despite the fact that he killed plenty of people. That's kind of where we're at right now in society, that they say it doesn't matter what their history is. What matters is what the police did in that action, in that scenario. And the truth is Pablo Escobar was shot in the back as he was running on a rooftop. And that, in the context of I don't know if it happened in the 90s or the 80s, but in that context seems appropriate. But today it's not anymore, because police officers are always wrong, no matter how violent the criminal is that they're pursuing. And that's kind of what my question was to Black America, is why do we keep sanctifying our criminals? Why is this person receiving a 3-day funeral? When Dr. Ben Carson dies, when Herman Cain died a couple of months ago, these are Black men who made amazing accomplishments, who lived their lives honorably. When Clarence Thomas, who I believe is the second Black person to ever sit in the Supreme Court, when he dies, do you think there's going to be a 3-day telecast funeral and a gold casket for him? No. So something's wrong here. Our values are wrong here. And this is happening because the media acquiesces to that sort of an environment, because they make it seem like this is how important this individual was when they weren't. So you can at the same time not justify the manner in which a person was killed or hurt or harmed, and also not say that we should take this next extraordinary step and make it seem like this person lived like Jesus Christ. And that's what I'm saying. There is a balance.
Right. And with Rayshard, I think you were saying that, look, this person was resisting arrest and trying to fight back against police officers.
Fired a taser at a police officer. He fought the police officer, beat him to the ground, took the police officer's weapon, and fired the police officer's weapon at the police officer. And people are still saying he didn't deserve to be shot. So then just say what you mean, that you don't think police officers deserve to live. And that's really what we're getting at with Black Lives Matter. Under no scenario should a police officer have the right to defend himself, even when his life is on the line. These police officers have families to go home to. And for some reason, people do not see them as human beings. They've been incredibly dehumanized by our mainstream media narrative of the day. They don't understand that is a person behind that blue suit. That is a person that is trying to make your streets safer. That is a person that has a split second to make a decision that will decide whether or not they live or die. And people don't see that anymore.
And the media is completely co-opted by this leftist narrative, which means we have Candace Owens, the only person to talk sense, it seems.
Yeah, I'm the only one. I'm just telling the truth. And that's the craziest thing, is it is the media's job to add that color and context. That would stop the mob mentality, that would stop people protesting, waiting outside of courthouses, if they just added a layer of truth to what they tell, right? If they just said, here are some important things to know about this suspect that was being apprehended, which can put you perhaps into the mind of the police officer when he knows he's dealing with a violent criminal that has a history. The Jacob Blake one, stunning. I mean, he had an arrest warrant, a warrant out for his arrest for digitally raping a woman, like for going into her home, for digitally raping her and for telling her that she smelled like she had been with other men. A Black woman called the police because she was scared, right? And this man had a weapon, and he is fighting against police officers that are telling him to stop. He is heading towards his car, and nobody can empathize with the police or sympathize with the police officer. Nobody can realize that they are pursuing a violent criminal. With, they have been called there. So this whole idea of it, it's just racism, right? Like, he just saw a black man and just wanted to kill him. No, in each one of these instances, the police officers are being called, right? So this is not just aggressive. They're not pulling these people over and just aggressively policing them. And so right now the decision is like, do you want a society that is governed by rules and regulations and equality for all, meaning that under the same circumstances, a white person who does this would be in the same circumstance if you assaulted a police officer and grabbed his weapon? You have to be an unstable, crazy person to do that. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around what would make you think it's okay to punch two police officers, grab their weapon and fire it at them, and think that you have a right to do that, right? You're an unstable person. And that's scary because police officers are being asked to deal with people that are so mentally unstable that seems like a good decision to them.